It's 3:17 in the morning. The house is silent. No wind, no movement, no sound. And yet, something is awake. A shadow slips across the floor, fluid, deliberate, almost invisible. It pauses, listens, calculates. Every muscle is still, every sense alert. In this moment, your cat is no longer a pet. It is a hunter, a predator shaped by millions of years of evolution, designed not for comfort, but for precision. What does it hear that you don't? What does it see in the dark? And more importantly, what is it thinking? Because behind those quiet eyes lies something far more complex than we've ever assumed. A mind built for strategy, for survival, for control. This is not just a story about cats. This is a journey into one of nature's most efficient and misunderstood intelligences. Cats are everywhere, curled up on couches, stretching in sunlight, watching us with that calm, unreadable gaze. To us, they seem simple, predictable, even lazy. But this image is a deception, because the domestic cat, Felis catus, is one of the most successful predators on Earth. Not in size, not in strength, but in efficiency. Across continents, ecosystems, and cultures, cats have thrived, not by dominating environments, but by adapting to them with surgical precision. They are hunters that don't chase power, they chase opportunity. And that raises a question. If cats are so effective, why don't we see it? Why does a creature capable of extraordinary hunting skill spend most of its time sleeping? The answer lies in a paradox. Cats are both highly active and profoundly still, both social and solitary, both dependent on humans and entirely independent in their behavior. To understand this contradiction, we have to look deeper, beyond behavior, beyond instinct, into the architecture of the feline mind itself. Because what appears simple on the surface is anything but. The cat's mind is not built like ours. It doesn't prioritize language, or abstract reasoning, or long-term planning in the human sense. Instead, it's optimized for something far more immediate: prediction. At the core of a cat's brain lies a highly developed sensory processing system. Vision, hearing, and proprioception, the sense of body position, are all finely tuned to detect even the smallest changes in the environment. Take vision. Cats don't see the world the way we do. Their eyes are designed for low light. The retina contains a high density of rod cells, which are extremely sensitive to movement and dim illumination. This allows cats to see in light levels roughly 6 times lower than what humans require. But there's a trade-off. They sacrifice color perception and fine detail for motion detection. To a cat, the world is not about clarity. It's about change. A flicker, a shadow, a slight shift in the environment. That's all it takes. And then there's hearing. Cats can detect frequencies up to 64 kilohertz, far beyond the human range. This means they can hear the ultrasonic communication of rodents, even the subtle rustling of prey moving beneath surfaces. In essence, cats don't just observe their environment, they interpret it at a level we can't even perceive. But sensory input alone isn't enough. What makes a cat extraordinary is how it uses that information. Through prediction. When a cat locks onto a target, it doesn't simply react. It models, it calculates, distance, timing, trajectory. Every movement is part of a sequence, refined through instinct but sharpened through experience. This is where neuroscience begins to reveal something fascinating. Studies in animal cognition have shown that cats possess a well-developed cerebellum and motor cortex, regions responsible for coordination, precision, and timing. This is why a cat can leap, twist mid-air,
and land with near-perfect accuracy. It's not reflex, it's controlled execution. Even more intriguing is the hippocampus, the part of the brain associated with memory and spatial awareness. Cats use this to build mental maps of their territory. They remember locations, pathways, and hiding spots with remarkable accuracy. But, unlike humans, their memory is highly selective. They don't store everything, only what matters, only what increases their chances of success. And that brings us to behavior. Cats don't hunt because they're hungry. They hunt because they're wired to. This is called predatory drift, a deeply embedded instinct that operates independent of hunger. Even well-fed domestic cats will stalk, chase, and capture prey, not out of necessity, but because their brain demands it. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes sense. In the wild, survival depends on constant readiness. A missed opportunity could mean starvation. So the brain reinforces the behavior again and again until it becomes automatic. This is why your cat plays, why it chases shadows, attacks moving objects, pounces on nothing. It's not random, it's training, the simulation of the hunt. And here's where things become even more complex, because cats are not just instinct-driven machines, they are capable of learning. Research from institutions like Kyoto University and other animal cognition labs have shown that cats can form associations, recognize patterns, and even respond to human cues, though often in ways that differ from dogs. They understand their names. They recognize their owners' voices. They simply choose when to respond. This selective engagement is often mistaken for indifference, but it may reflect something deeper: autonomy. Cats are not pack animals. They didn't evolve under strict social hierarchies like wolves. Their intelligence developed in a different context, one where independence was not just advantageous, but necessary. So, instead of obedience, they prioritize control. Control over movement, over interaction, over energy. Which brings us to one of the most misunderstood aspects of feline behavior: sleep. Cats sleep between 12 and 16 hours a day. At first glance, it looks like laziness, but biologically, it's efficiency. Hunting is expensive. It requires bursts of intense energy, speed, focus, precision. To sustain this, the body conserves energy whenever possible. This is known as a crepuscular rhythm, being most active during dawn and dusk, when prey is also active. It's a schedule optimized not for convenience, but for success. Every aspect of the cat's biology, its senses, its brain, its behavior, is aligned towards one purpose: to hunt. Silently, efficiently, effectively. And yet, today, most cats never need to. Which raises a deeper question: what happens to a predator when the hunt disappears? The relationship between cats and humans is unlike any other in the animal world. Dogs were domesticated through cooperation. They were shaped to work with us. Cats were not. Their domestication began around 9,000 years ago in the Fertile Crescent, not through deliberate breeding, but through proximity. Early agricultural societies created a new ecological niche. Stored grain attracted rodents. Rodents attracted predators. Cats arrived on their own. They weren't invited. They integrated. Over time, a mutual relationship formed. Humans tolerated cats for their ability to control pests. Cats tolerated humans for access to resources. But the fundamental dynamic never changed. Cats remained independent. Even today, domestic cats retain much of their wild behavior. Genetically, they are remarkably similar to their ancestors. This is why a house cat can survive and even thrive in the wild. It doesn't need to relearn how to hunt. It already knows. But this independence has consequences. In modern ecosystems, domestic cats had become one of the most impactful predators. Studies published in journals like Nature Communications estimate that cats kill billions of birds and small mammals each year. In some regions, they have contributed to the decline and even extinction of native species. This is not because cats are destructive, it's because they are effective. They are operating exactly as evolution designed them to. The difference is the environment has changed. Human expansion has created ecosystems where natural checks and balances no longer apply, and the cat, with its precision and adaptability, fits too well. This creates a dilemma. How do we reconcile our affection for cats with their ecological impact? There is no simple answer, but it forces us to reconsider something fundamental: our perception. We see cats as companions, but beneath that role lies a predator, not a diminished version, a fully intact one. Understanding this doesn't make cats less endearing. If anything, it makes them more extraordinary, because they exist in two worlds at once, the domestic and the wild. So what is a cat, really? A pet? A predator? A companion? The answer is all of these, but none of them fully capture the truth, because the essence of a cat lies not in what it does, but in how it exists. A cat does not surrender its nature. It adapts it. It moves through human environments without losing its evolutionary identity. It sleeps on our beds, but listens like a hunter. It plays with toys, but practices for the hunt. It lives with us, but is not defined by us. And this is what makes the feline mind so remarkable. It is not built for domination, or cooperation, or control. It is built for balance, between action and stillness, between instinct and learning, between independence and coexistence. In a world that often demands extremes, the cat remains something else entirely: precise, measured, self-contained, a quiet intelligence operating just beneath the surface. The next time you see a cat, watch closely, not just what it does, but how it does it. The pause before movement, the focus in its gaze, the way it listens to things you cannot hear. Because in that stillness, there is a different kind of awareness, one that doesn't rely on noise or speed or constant activity, but on understanding, on timing, on knowing exactly when to act and when not to. In a world that moves faster every day, the cat reminds us of something we often forget: that power doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it waits. And in that waiting, it sees everything.